Oh, I forgot to, I don't know what time it is. It's dinner anyway. It's a late dinner, I know that much. It might be, sun's over there. Might be 4. I'm not sure. Anyway, I've been really busy, so I haven't had a chance to eat yet. Anyway, I'm fine. Greek salad, and I'm going to be using, I'm cooked some barley with quite a bit of my cherry wine and dill juice from the stems of dill, and I have tomato seeds on me because I was seeding the tomatoes and it squirted all over. Whatever, it can stay on me, I don't care. Anyway, James is having some pineapple for dessert. I actually don't like pineapple and I don't feel like it right now, so I'm not going to have that. Anyway, he should be out in a minute and then he can talk about some of these, because I actually can't talk about a couple of them because one of them I fell asleep and I didn't care enough to watch the end, so I can't say. And the other one I just listened to while I was doing other things. I have no idea really how to comment on that. Okay, so this one, Nerve, I actually enjoyed. Didn't enjoy watching with James, but yeah. I didn't know that was Dave Franco. That's interesting. Anyway, it's basically about some kind of dare kind of site on the dark web where some people can watch and they'll pay whatever a fee so that they're allowed to watch, and then they anyway, and then they can dare people with a certain price tag to do certain things, and those players will do it, and then if they do it, then they get the money. And but I mean, it got to some very dangerous dares. So anyway, I thought it was enjoyable, and I think any young person in the 20s kind of age, I think it's probably a good movie for that group.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they'll learn anything. I wonder if that guy's in relation to James Franco.
Must be.
Could be. It's not a common last name in Hollywood.
It's good, but see, I'm going to use this in a recipe, so I wanted to try the barley and see what all I need to add. I definitely need to add more dill.
That was Justin Timberlake? Was he made
I know,
up?
hey?
Or has he just grown old in the last 10 years?
I don't know.
Awful.
Yeah, well, he doesn't look like him.
Yeah, maybe they made him up. He's losing a bit of hair. What else? Well, his acting chops never were much, but he's kind of exposed in this one.
Excuse the reach. I didn't even know that was him. But
James is going to give you the
he is
preview,
a homely little fella. Poor guy. He was a bit of a symbol, wasn't he? Maybe even a sex symbol way back when. What group did he belong to?
I don't know.
In Sync, was that it?
James keeps up on the latest boy bands. I don't know.
Well, they're not the latest. I mean, they're, what, almost 20 years out of date now? Weren't they the more talented and
I don't know.
if anything less
I didn't know
good-looking,
anything about those.
Backstreet Boys?
Anyway.
There was one show we were watching that had Seth MacFarlane in it, eh? Isn't that amazing?
When my sister was a teenager, she had kids on the block or whatever, on.
Oh
her
yeah,
walls.
New Kids on the
But
Block.
I wasn't into them. I think I was too old for them, and I must have. I just wasn't into that sort of thing either. She was a preppy sort of girl, and I was a bad girl.
That had the other Wahlberg in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
They were as homely as hop toads, those guys. It's incredible. They were even uglier than Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, one of them looked like Frankenstein.
Or Frank Sinatra in Youth or something like that. Yeah,
Anyway.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know if that was the
I don't know who
Wahlberg
his
guy,
name
but
was. Kathy would know.
homely as a hop toad.
Anyway, this movie was a Woody Allen movie called Wonder Wheel, and it was. We watched this one first, Shadows and Fog, and this one was 1992, and this one was 2017, and they were both kind of play-like.
Yeah.
They both seemed like plays.
Yeah.
But
Play.
this one was much better than that one.
Yeah, like that one.
Written with a guy with a 3-digit IQ. So this one, geez, I don't know. Or was this based on? Yeah.
But still, this one is Shadows and Fog confirms Woody Allen's genius with a da 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 da. I don't,
Did he
it's
write
in black and white, which makes it seem more
man.
arty.
You like
But
European
it was
or
in
Italian?
black and white for a reason,
Yeah.
because of when it was set, right? And so I didn't mind that it was black and white, but I think it's overrated because it's black and white. I did enjoy it, and there are similarities between these two. Like both of the
I'm
main
just seeing it now.
women,
Okay, go for it.
both of the main ladies in these movies are they're not happy with their lives. They're not happy with who they're with, yet they won't they won't be alone. They won't leave. And they both make excuses for the behavior of the men that they're with, and manage to justify it to themselves. So she's getting knocked around every once in a while when guy gets drunk, but he loves her, he needs her. And she doesn't want to be with him. She wants to be rescued by this lifeguard guy who is a little younger than her, but he's neither the young lifeguard or the boyfriend of the woman in this, they do not want a serious relationship. At the end here, this John Malkovich's character, he's the boyfriend, and he's this clown who's going to step out again.
A real clown, not
He will.
metaphorically or figuratively.
No, he will. And she's wanted a baby, she's wanted to have a family with him, and then this child is gifted to her, basically, and here she has it, and at the end, he's like holding the baby, and she's like, I have to feed the baby, give me the baby, I want to hold, and he's like, no, and he's keeping the baby from her. He didn't want the baby. He didn't want a baby with her. He was very clear about it, but when she has the baby, when she has the opportunity to have it, he keeps it from her. So these are not healthy relationships that these people are in, but like this one, James was very bothered by it. At the end he said, that's not, so what did you say? It's not a happy ending, or what did you say? I don't know, but he was bothered by it. It stressed him out, because in the end the killer, I guess I cannot tell you.
Oh, well, it didn't bother me that much. I mean, not even for about the ending.
Yeah.
If it really bothered me, I would have remembered. I was just saying, maybe it's not tied up. But then, that's the way life is. Do you know who wrote and directed this stuff?
Yes, I know.
Wow, I didn't realize. It's awful. The main problem is, yeah, the casting.
It's not as good as the
And
other.
a director, I guess, is responsible for the casting. None of these people could handle a role. None of them.
Well, and the
So-
writing was not believable.
Well,
Like,
I
for
mean, it
the-
seemed like real.
It was the
50s
dialogue.
writing,
The
which is-
dialogue was
the
not
dialogue was
believable
for
at all.
for the people that see Woody can write for people that read books and stuff. You know, like parts for people that read books. But these folks, you didn't get the impression were much into reading, aside from the writer there,
And Justin Timberlake playing a writer.
It's
Wow,
not believable.
Yeah. I don't think the
Okay.
guy even writes home.
You know.
This was from the director of Ocean's 11, 12, 13, and Magic Mike.
Wow, that's
Logan
amazing.
Lucky.
Yeah.
So I actually do like Adam Driver,
So who's that?
the guy that you think is really ugly. That guy.
Yeah, he's pretty ugly, isn't he? Did we see him in another movie or something?
You saw him in Star Wars
Oh,
recently.
was he only in that? I'm telling you, he looks better when that those big flashy lips are kind of covered up a little bit.
Anyway,
I
boy,
hope
was
he's not
Channing Tatum chunky in this.
a little.
He's a chunky
Pretty
monkey.
chunky.
Those steroids have really.
Really amped his appetite, I think. And who is this other dude?
But-
This ugly guy with the even smaller ears than me?
Daniel Craig.
That is him, eh?
Yeah.
Doing a different accent.
Well,
I
he
thought
did
he
a
did a
good
great
job.
Yeah.
I always thought he was a reasonably good actor.
I fell asleep in this.
I mean, he's
so
so
James
good.
is better to talk about it, really.
Yeah,
but
he's
I liked
such a
what I
good
saw.
actor. Even though he doesn't have the look of James Bond, he kind of
Yeah, I
convinces
know.
me he's
Yeah,
got the
I know.
character
Me
or
too.
something like that.
But I was impressed with his accent much better than Michael Caine doing a southern accent. Yeah.
I saw Michael Caine. We saw him do one in one movie, but it seemed like when I think about it, I've seen Michael Caine act in 3 movies doing a southern accent because it seemed that long and excruciating watching him try to
Work through that part. That was brutal. Poor fella.
I don't know who should have sued whom, like whether he should have sued the director or producer for miscasting him, or whether they should have sued him for just blowing that southern accent. It didn't sound Cockney,
It didn't sound anything. It sounded Martian, maybe.
it's impressive. But yeah, Craig looks like a totally different kind of look, not,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the Bond that he plays is not suave, but it's a lot more suave than this.
I tell you.
Looks as though this guy just crawled out of
A mine in West Virginia.
maybe what it's supposed to be. Anyway, it's hilarious. It is aimed at the same sort of audience as Ocean's 11, 12, 13, and however many they work their way up to. It's for that populist crowd. Because this guy, manages to escape from the FBI and all that stuff.
He's a smart cracker.
It's the second thing I've seen Wahlberg do like that. Like he's really trolling the depths.
Wahlberg?
No,
You don't mean
This guy. What is
Daniel
what's
Craig.
his- Oh, no, this other dude.
What? Oh, Adam Driver?
Who's that?
Channing Tatum?
Yeah, Channing Tatum. I've seen him do, him or Wahlberg.
I think it was him too. What they're doing is I can just see them running for president after Donald Trump because they'll appeal to this Republican base, former Democratic Party base. People who don't read books and want to crucify people who do.
People might actually vote for Channing Tatum.
Well, if they voted for Trump, they'll vote for anyone who makes the right kind of animalistic noises. Jesse the Body Ventura, former WWE performer, was elected governor, I believe, of some state like Minnesota. This is quite a while back.
Was it 20 years back?
More than 15. Schwarzenegger, I mean, wow, that guy can barely put two words together coherently. And I get that from German sources, talking about his German. So I don't have to tell you about his English. And he was governor of California for how long? You know? So the stage had already been set for a dingbat like Donald Trump.
Anyway, this is a documentary called Do Not Resist. It was put out in 2017. And it sounded like they did a good job. I don't know. James will talk about that one. I didn't really.
I don't want to say too much about it.
Okay. But you'd say they did a good job.
They did a good job, mainly because they didn't do a lot of talking. You know, like the last thing I want to see is some. Now I understand I'm a left winger, but some idiot. You know, I used to rock the long hair, and I'd rock it if I were still could. But you know, like if I were rocking the long hair, I'd have to understand that I'm not going to appeal to people who are kind of like sitting on the fence. It's just not going to happen. But that's what usually happens with these left-wing documentaries. They get some idiot out there with hair down to their, we'll say waist, but it's a little bit lower, and you know, like granny glasses 50 years after they were popular, and you're kind of expecting, well, they do a lot of lecturing to people on the fence, a lot of hyperbole and huffing and puffing, and they end up not blowing the house down like the big bad wolf. So totally ineffectual. But this one, they kind of let these idiots, police guys and SWAT guys, do their own talking, and they were so ridiculous that they were far more eloquent, damning themselves than any nut bar left winger would be.
I don't know. I, for one, don't mind the idea of being under video surveillance all the time.
Well, it all depends on who's on the other end of the camera.
It's I pretty much take it as a given now, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it, so
It all comes down to who you fear more, like the powers that be or the powers on the street.
I mean, I would like if it happens that I have no privacy ever, then what was I going to say? I want it to be equal for everybody. I want it to be, if I have no privacy, then nobody does, and if one person gets to see me all the time, then everyone does. Because I don't really... I mean, now we're at a point where, like with technology, that so much of what we see or what we... like, certainly everything we read on the internet can change in a heartbeat. Like, when dictionary definitions are changing within the last 10 years.
Like what? Can you think of an example?
Virtually.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, can you really trust that even if you're under constant video surveillance, can you trust that video or whatever hasn't been altered?
Oh, it's getting to the point now where they're saying that the experts are saying you can Photoshop moving pictures so well now, it's very hard, even for experts, to easily distinguish what's been
So
Photoshopped
sure.
and what hasn't been.
I mean, I could be under video surveillance all the time, but you can't trust that that's actually me doing whatever if you see me, right?
Well, that's the funny thing. You see, like, there's this huge trust that the Russians didn't really seriously hack into the electoral process in the United States because it would leave a record. Well, the Russians, some of them, are, according to Hackers Cup and stuff like that, the best computer technicians in the world. So who's going to catch them if they're doing this photoshopping kind of stuff? If they're the best in the world, no one's going to catch them. So they're already saying it's hard to catch, people, I guess, that are just good at it. So now it always was that way. How did we trust people who wrote papers that they were actually telling the truth? We weren't there. The stuff was just written down. The best example of that was the cover-up of Kennedy's assassination. Just it's concocted, and it was done, from what I could tell, starting minutes after Kennedy was assassinated. The conspiracy to cover the original conspiracy up, because the original conspiracies were like the gang who could barely shoot straight. They could shoot straight enough to take Kennedy out, but they would have been caught within hours if Johnson hadn't covered up for him.
It was crunchy in there.
No, it's not a good sign. Was it an olive?
Might have been.
Just so long as it wasn't your tooth crunching. I've been there, done that.
Yeah, poor Jam.
What was it? Hazelnut, I think. A long time ago.
But you didn't know at that point that your teeth were falling apart because of the cancer, right?
Okay, I'm not sure it... You see, technically I had too much calcium in my system, right? I don't know if that was...
blood, not in your...
Okay.
It was taken out of your bones and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know about my teeth. See, my teeth are different. Like, how living are your teeth? Do they have that? Do they have marrow? See, it's my marrow, not the bones. So...
Well, it was happening.
Around the same time, but...
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what was happening. It could have been... I was using too much vitamin D to remake my bones, like I was, you see? And then there might not have been enough. I presume you need vitamin D to make your teeth. So that's my guess. So that's what I always suspected. Once I was diagnosed, it was related to that, but I can't see the connection really well. You need vitamin D as well as... And there was probably other things that were getting leached too. Well, not leached, but used up, potassium. Possible. What else do you need for your teeth?
I do love Woody Allen, just not all of his movies. Not many of them, actually, but he does get it right. He gets it right,
Well, I'm shocked he did this last one. I think he's approaching senility, perhaps.
Mm. I don't know. Timberlake was a bad idea, but you know.
He was awful.
Mm-hmm.
He's the person who's got to hold it all together, right? He's not in it that much, but wow. And Belushi never seems to quite work as a heavy guy. I think he's basically a comic actor.
I think we both like Midnight in Paris.
Okay, what was that one about? Was that Woody Allen? Yeah, that was pretty. And he actually in one thing with Scarlett Johansson and
Match Point.
Jackman.
Match Point.
Is that what it was called?
Excellent. That's my favorite one.
I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And those aren't the best actors around
Mm-hmm.
by a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Jackman.
Yep. But that movie was great. I think that's what it was about.
Just thinking. There was a boy in that Coney Island movie, right?
Yep. Fire starter.
I wonder if, how old Woody Allen was in the 50s. I wonder if he had a romantic episode. Maybe he knew someone. One of his school comrades. Just like that. Because Woody Allen, I think, was born and raised in New York. Quite possibly Brooklyn. I think Coney Island is in, I won't say it's in Brooklyn. Maybe it's in Queens, but both on Long Island. It's a long ways away from each other. So,
Well, that's our dinner.